For most people, the next generation of consoles is the evolution of home entertainment. But for a lot of us, it's just an upgraded version of a console we already love, and in my case, the PlayStation 5. In my last video, I talked about some games that I'm excited to play on the PlayStation 5, even though I've already tried them out on the PlayStation 4, specifically because I want to see how they work and how much better they perform. And now that the next generation is upon us, I thought it'd be a great time to test out Borderlands 3, Destiny 2, and Jedi Fallen Order on my brand new PlayStation 5 console. But before we get started, my name is Dan and welcome to my YouTube channel where I love to talk about video games. If that's something you like hearing about, then do me a favor and subscribe. So to get things started, let's talk about how Borderlands 3 performs on the PlayStation 5. As of this recording, Borderlands 3 is the only one of these three games that actually has a PlayStation 5 version ready to go. The upgraded version of the game was made available at launch on the PlayStation 5, and it's free for anybody who owns Borderlands 3 on the PlayStation 4. So it's a free upgrade up to the next generation right off the bat with a game that people already love. And my main issues with Borderlands 3 on the PlayStation 4 were the menus feeling sluggish, the gameplay feeling sluggish, things loading in very slow. I think it's safe to say that all of my complaints for Borderlands 3 on the PS4 were dealt with in the PlayStation 5 version of the game. The menus load faster, the game runs smoother, and the load times are a lot faster as well. I'm not usually somebody who counts frames, but going from 30 frames to 60 frames per second in a shooter is a very feelable change. You really notice the difference only after the fact. If you tell somebody to play a game in 30 frames per second, they're not gonna think about it, it's gonna feel fine. But then if you tell them to play the same game in 60 frames per second, the difference is immediately felt, and then going back just feels like time traveling to the Stone Age. Not great. So now that I'm at 60 frames per second, I really don't see myself playing the 30 frames per second version of Borderlands ever again. It just feels like the game is actually playing on the console rather than the console trying to keep up with the game. And this makes a lot of sense to say. Of course the game is going to feel better, run better on a stronger machine with upgrades to match those new specs, but the real upgrade comes in when you think about the PlayStation 5 controller. If you haven't already heard about it, the PS5 controller is pretty amazing. And when discussing Borderlands 3, we have to talk about the triggers on the PS5 controller. If you're not too familiar with Borderlands 3, just know that the game features a ton of guns. They all have different firing rates, they have different elemental effects, and overall they're just different, and there are a lot of them. And in the case of Borderlands 3, the triggers are going to change depending on what gun you're using. So if you have a shotgun equipped, it might feel more like a pull. If you have a gun that charges up, it might feel like you're pressing down on a cushion. If you have, I don't know, a sniper rifle, it might feel like a really hard click. It's really cool because it all changes as you're playing the game. It does it dynamically. I'm amazed by this controller, and Borderlands 3 takes full advantage of it with the PS5 version. So before I talk too much about this controller, let's talk about the PlayStation 4 version of Jedi Fallen Order and how it stacks up in this discussion. As I stated in my last video, the PlayStation 4 version of Jedi Fallen Order is probably the roughest version of the game. Stormtroopers load in very late, things happen very slowly, and it just feels busted. As a matter of fact, Jedi Fallen Order is the prime example of my theory that the PS4 Pro became the console that developers were making games for, and the PS4 just had to work. And in this case, it only just barely did. But on the PS5, Jedi Fallen Order runs as I hoped it would the whole time. The enemies seem to load in when they intend to. They don't load in as I'm in the middle of an area. The game feels smooth. I think it feels how it was supposed to feel the whole time. And overall, the game just seems very playable, which is nice. So as of this recording, there is no official PS5 version of Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know if that's coming. I wouldn't be surprised. This game is very cool, it's very replayable, and I think I might be more inclined to play the game over again. There are some things I didn't do. I did get the platinum, but I don't have everything, but it would be nice to play this game in 4K, 60 frames per second, the works. I would love to see that for this Star Wars video game. But I do have to admit, even without there being a specific PlayStation 5 version of Jedi Fallen Order, the game still does feel like an upped experience when played on the PlayStation 5. If you haven't played Jedi Fallen Order yet, I think you might as well wait until you get a PS5 to play it for the first time, unless you have another console you're gonna play it on. Because I cannot recommend enough not playing it on the PS4. And now, the moment that you've been waiting for this entire video, I am about to talk about how Destiny 2 performs on the PlayStation 5. As of this recording, we're going to talk about the PlayStation 4 version of Destiny 2 being played on the PlayStation 5. However, on December 10th, Bungie will be rolling out the PlayStation 5 version of Destiny 2, which will bring the 60 frames per second, the upgraded graphics, the even faster load times. And while those upgrades aren't out yet, I am happy to report that Destiny 2 is so much better on the PlayStation 5. One of the most surprising upgrades to me were the load screens. I was actually astonished at how fast they are now. Like most people who are about to face a very long load screen, I pull out my phone, I look at Instagram, I check the news, whatever, to wait for the load screen to happen. I did the same thing with PlayStation 5's Destiny 2, and it was over so fast that I almost threw my phone across the room because I was just shocked at how fast things loaded. I was in the tower, everything looked great. There weren't glowy figures around, they weren't ghosty Jedi looking things, they were loaded in, they were actual Guardians. Everything was there on load time, and I was just so happy to see this game feel like it works. From starting the game all the way to the character selection screen, it just happened so fast that I forgot it was possible to load into Destiny this quickly. I think the last time this game felt this snappy was on the PlayStation 3 with Destiny 1. And I'm not sure why Destiny 1 on the PS3 is my mental speed test comparison, but that's just what it made me feel. I don't know, it's strange to me as well. Moving on, the menus feel so fast. They just load. You hit options and then the menu screen's right there, just like you'd expect it to be. You don't have to wait for all the items to load, it just shows up. Which is, again, I know it sounds simple. If you play on PC, this is not an issue, but for Destiny 2 players who play the game on a launched PS4, this is a godsend. It feels so good to just get in your menu, change something, and get back into the game. This, of course, is reflected in the vault. That goes very fast as well. And if it's not already obvious, I'm just so happy that the game runs as well as it does on the PS5, and it can only get better from here. Bungie hasn't even given us the optimized version yet. So excited. It's gonna be so fast, it's gonna look so pretty. Oh man. Destiny 2 on the PS, if you're already playing, I mean, you love Destiny if you already play it, right? You have to love it if you're gonna play it. You can't hate the game and play it, although people do. Anyway, moving on, I just wanted to share my thoughts on the speed comparison compared to when I played on the launch PlayStation 4 with PlayStation 5 games. It was very fun for me to do this. It was very nice to see things moving in a good direction. All of this is very exciting. The new console generation is here, and I gotta say, with the PS5 controller and the load times, it really does feel like a new console generation to me. All that being said, it does seem like the Xbox Series X is winning the load time race, which is good for them, but I'm excited to see this kind of thing happen. That's the race I want to see, the load time race. Who can have faster load times? Because in that competition, only the player wins. I just need you to understand that. So let them fight it out. Who cares what side you're on? Just load the games faster. Go team. And I don't care if you're playing on Xbox 360, PS5, PS4, Neo Geo Pocket, I don't care. Let's talk about video games in the comments. It's one of my favorite things to do, and today's no different. And if this video did anything for you, do me a favor and indicate that with a like. It's the best way to tell me that you liked the video. And if you really like my videos and you want to support my channel, do me a favor and subscribe if you're not already. And if you are already subscribed, do me a favor and share this channel with a friend who likes video games. But ultimately, thank you very much for watching this video. Your time is your most valuable asset, and you used it to let me talk your ear off about the PS5 and how load times are diminishing, and I'm so happy about that. Honestly, I'm not even sure when I'm gonna check my phone anymore. Load times was kind of when I did it. Now it's like, oh, the game's on. I could just play and then just put my phone somewhere else. Anyway, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.